So welcome to my channel, a channel that brings you insights of African politics. Today, I want us to talk about a very important issue which has been bothering me for a while. And I won't talk too much. It's about effects of tribalism. Effects of tribalism and partisanship in our body of politics in Africa. I want us to talk about effects of tribalism and partisanship in African politics. It's a very important topic that needs to be addressed because as we haven't gotten someone, any good leader to come and save us from our miseries, we are always going to go within this democratic system which was designed for us by our colonial masters. So we have nothing to talk about. So the only thing we have is to make sure the systems we have, we talk about it. But this time, what I want us to check is tribalism in African politics. Maybe where you are in Africa, there isn't much tribalism involved in African politics. But I think for my side, where I am in Ghana, there have been a lot of partisanship and tribalism in our politics, which I find it very worrying. And I want us to talk about this particular issue. I think 2024, December 2024, we will be going to the polls to elect the new leader. Our current leader is Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, but we will be electing another leader, which is either Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who is the vice president of the current leader Nana Addo, and our former president, Mr. John Dramani Mahama. So I'm trying to follow their their campaign, and there is something that I have found out which is very worrying. I saw the same thing happening in Nigeria, and I was like, okay, maybe these are things that Africa needs to be very careful with it, but it happens in Nigeria, and I know it's also going to happen in Ghana, and that is what is bothering me. That's why I want us to address tribalism in our body of politics. One thing I will tell anybody who has been following African politics or the stakeholders in African politics is that don't let somebody deceive you to vote for someone, because it is very tricky in Africa. It's very tricky. Most of the times, all my content, you realize I address things that are that deals with Africa and Western countries. Most of the times, I address situations that deals with Africa and foreign Western countries. But what I have realized is I hardly try to touch African politics because it's very dicey. Someone can convince you to vote for a certain candidate because the person is his tribesman. Someone can try to convince you to vote for somebody because he is his tribesman. Not that the person has a good policy. Not that the person has a good policy, but he wants you to vote for the person because he is coming from his tribe. And that thing has been the terrain and the trend of most African politics. Most of the times, I tried not to talk a lot about African politics because African politics has been divided into three. We have the main opposition supporters, the government supporters, and the neutrals. That's something which is facts. We have the neutrals, the main opposition supporters, then the government supporters. And these things, if we are not careful, that is what is going to keep Africa underdeveloped. These things are going to keep Africa underdeveloped because most of the times when the election is approaching, the opposition normally cooks stories. The government normally cooks stories just to lure people to vote for them. And what I have realized is people don't care about who is doing what and who is not doing what. They just want their tribesmen to climb to power. And when their tribesmen climb to power, the whole thing is when their tribesmen is doing anything to devour the country, they are practicing any corrupt deals, the person will be mute. That is what is happening in African politics. When they are in power, everything the government does is positive. But when they are not in power, whatever the government done is negative. Whether he is doing something to improve lives, whether he is doing something to make sure the country moves forward, the opposition will make sure they are going to paint the government black. What I have realized in Africa is no sitting government have a good name. The opposition will paint themselves white, then they will paint the government black. So these days, when somebody tries to convince me to vote for a certain candidate, I will be asking the person to give me reasons to vote for the person, because already I have my reasons to vote for somebody. So if you want to convince me, what reasons do you have for me to vote for your candidate? Because what I have realized is people trying to convince people to vote for their tribesmen to climb into power. And one thing too that is bothering me is when most of the times they are convincing you, they don't tell you the truth. So if you are somebody who is not abreast with current affairs, and you also like reading, and you also like checking facts before taking action, you are going to be deceived to vote for someone who may not be the right person to be in power. That is exactly what is happening. That is exactly what is happening. So, as December, Ghana is going to the poll to choose a leader who will succeed Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, I think we have to be very careful who we are going to vote for. I have seen a lot of people have been painting the current government black, but most of the times I find it weird because the leader whom they are campaigning for have been in power before, and we saw his performance. He didn't do enough, so he was removed by Ghanaians. But now he's coming back to contest to be a leader of the country. So it has become a very dicey because we have someone who has been here before and couldn't achieve anything, and he is coming back again. And we have someone who is with this government, and they have also messed up a lot of things. So it seems we have been left with two leaders whom we have experienced their leadership. But at the end of the day, who are we going to vote for? That's why I'm saying it's very tricky. And when you are going to select such leaders, you have to read, you have to check facts. You have to check facts before you vote for them. You have to check facts before you vote for them. Because one thing which is also driving this whole politics in Africa is tribal hate. Tribal hate. Your tribe want your tribe men to come to power. I saw that one in Nigeria. You want your tribe man to come to power for you to boast that your tribesman is in power, which is fair. If you think your tribesman can do the job, it's fair. There is nothing wrong with it. But why do you have to attack other tribes? Why do you want, instead of you telling them what your tribesman can do, you rather attack other tribes that these tribes are the one who are choosing leaders to lead this country, and they are corrupt. These tribes are corrupt. These tribes are this. This tribe. Instead of you selling your tribe's policy to the other tribes, talk to them nicely and explain things to them, you end up insulting other tribes. You end up insulting other tribes. Please, I want viewers who are watching me to also share their thoughts in the comment section. I want us to look at the tribalism. Do you think tribalism and partisanship is affecting African politics? Do you think tribalism and partisanship is affecting African politics? Let me continue. These people who want their tribesmen to come to power somehow find a way of attacking other tribes and calling them names. That these tribes are the one who elected this person and he came to power and he has messed up things, and we can't allow ourselves to be ruled by this tribe, and we can't allow ourselves to be ruled by this tribe. Why do we do such thing to ourselves? Because at the end of the day, you are going to piss the other tribes off. Sorry for my bad language. You are going to piss the other tribes off, and they will end up going back to vote massively for their tribesmen, for them to maintain the one you think is not doing well. That is what has been happening. I've seen it in Nigerian politics. They keep on nominating some tribes. They keep on nominating some tribe, or they keep on electing some tribes, because at the end of the day, instead of the other tribes trying to present their candidate policies and try to convince the other tribes that this is what this man can do to help Nigeria, this is what this man can do to build this country nicely, we end up attacking each other and the other tribes. And most of the times, these tribes have the numbers, so they end up going back and vote for their tribesmen to maintain them in power. And most of the times, I don't blame them, because at the end of the day, that is what every person will do. Exactly, you try to attack another tribes, calling them fools, calling them illiterate, calling them all sorts of names. They have no option than to go and teach you a lesson at the day of the ballot box. They will go and vote massively for the person whom you think is messing up the country. And at the end of the day, there is nothing you can do. You have no option than to be ruled by the person who you think they are uncivilized, they are villagers, they are this. So instead of us trying to fight among ourselves Why don't we convince ourselves through policy making, through manifestos, through ideologies? This man can do this. This man can bring this on board. This man can bring this on board. This man can bring this on board. Present your policies to the other tribes. Convince them that this man is capable of saving the nation. Instead of calling them names, instead of calling them fools, instead of calling them illiterate, instead of calling them uncivilized, try to have a very good conversation through ideologies, through policy making, for you to be able to convince them that this man is capable of doing this. So recently, someone wanted to convince me to vote for a certain candidate. And I asked him, so what are your reasons? What reason? Because to me, maybe what you are going through in this government, I'm not going through the same situation. We have different type of people on this in Africa here. What you are going through doesn't necessarily mean I'm going through the same thing. So what happens is, you have to convince me, you have to be able to convince me that maybe this is the policies that this man is bringing on board. So if you vote for him, you are going to benefit this, you are going to benefit this. But if you just tell me that, oh, this man is corrupt, this man is that, this man is that, so let's remove him and bring in another person whom I know was also corrupt. How do you want to convince me with this? Try to convince me that this man is doing this, he's doing this, he's doing this, which is very bad for the country. So, but this man has presented these policies. But if you are just talking about these guys are tribal bigots, this are that, this a guy are this, so they are not helping the country to move forward because of their tribalism and all that. That one cannot convince me. That one cannot convince me. You need to present me with policies. You need to convince me through ideologies. You can't just be talking about tribalism and all that stuff and convince me, because at the end of the day, what I'm experiencing is not what you are experiencing. And what you are experiencing, your experience is not my experience. That are facts. So as my viewers, I'm asking you, do you think tribalism and partisans are affecting African politics? Tribalism and partisanship. Do you think it's affecting African politics? Because to me, it has been the downfall of Africa. Tribalism has been the downfall of Africa. Partisanship has been the downfall of Africa. Though the whole democratic systems we are practicing now has been the downfall of Africa. But one thing that they also, our colonial masters did was to pitch one tribe against another tribe. And it has worked perfectly. Yeah, it has worked perfectly. When you come to Ghana, we have a lot of tribes that don't like each other. When you go to Kenya, we have a lot of tribes that also don't like each other. So that one, we cannot deny it. They were able to pitch us against each other. And through that, they are able to set a system that will also deliver the work. They are able to also put up a system, which is the democratic system. So we have these tribes who vote for this party, these tribes who vote for this party, and at the end of the day, yes, so Mr. Imbizo, he said divide and conquer. That is it. The system, what we are experiencing is the divide and conquer. One man has said it there. It's divide and conquer. So they have pitched us against each other. They have pitched us against each other, and we are fighting among ourselves. So only thing I can say is, if you think your tribesman is good, because what I've realized is all African politics have a tribe based where their party comes from, where their political party was founded, or their founding fathers. And most of the times, their founding fathers' tribe becomes the party's supporters. Their founding fathers' tribe becomes the party supporters. And at the end, we can't deny that. So most of the times, what happens is you will think one person is convincing you because he loves the country. But no, he wants his tribesmen to come and rule you so he can boast of himself that his tribesmen are ruling you. So my problem is we have to go, we have to, you have to cross that river. We have to stop using tribalism and partisanship to choose leaders. It's about time we choose leaders through ideologies. We choose leaders through their innovations, because at the end of the day, that is what is going to help build this continent, not this tribalism stuff. That one is not going to help us build this continent. So if we are also always going to choose leaders through tribal lines, Africa is going to be the same. Africa is going to be the same. People can lie. They can lie just because they want their party to come to power. Recently, somebody told me to touch on Rwanda politics. He wanted me to touch Rwanda politics, and he was telling me all sorts of things that Mr. Paul Kagame was doing. And I couldn't talk about it because I didn't know much what is happening in Rwanda. I didn't know how tribalism has engraved in their body of politics. Because you can meet someone who can spoil another tribes to you. And maybe whatever he was telling me because maybe he don't like Mr. Paul Kagame because he's not his tribesman. So when he told me that I should talk about Rwanda politics, I resisted because I don't know what is happening. Africa politics is very dirty. Someone can project a certain candidate to you through tribal lines, through a whole lot of things that if you are not careful and you don't do your own findings, you are going to be in trouble. There is another person, the same person. Sorry if I can't mention your name. He said in Basel. Don't forget that tribes in Africa were present for hundreds of thousands of years, and they learned to live alongside each other. Yeah. So I was saying that I asked question that do you think tribalism and partisanship is affecting African politics? And someone is telling us, I don't know if the name Imbeza. Someone is telling me our tribes were living, we were living together for ages. We were living together before the colonialism. And when the colonial masters came, they pitched us together. They pitched us against each other. That is a fact. When during the colonial days, they pitched tribes against each other, and we have killed ourselves for ages. So that is exactly what is happening in Africa. So he said, divide and conquer is one problem. Divide and conquer is one problem, and pitching us against each other is also one problem. And it has engraved on our body politics for you to, anytime you are listening to programs. Recently, wherever country you are, you can realize if the person who is in power is your tribesman, you realize that all the people who are opposing the person, the person in power is from certain tribes. Or the person who is trying to project the leader in bad light is a certain tribes that are fighting against them. And the leaders' tribes will also do anything to also defend any bad thing that leader will do. That has been the problem. So now, no one can convince me. I would decide to vote, but I will vote based on what policy that leader will bring on board, not based on some certain tribes. Present me with your policy, present me with your ideologies, present me what you can do for the country. I'm not going to vote because this guy is from this tribe or this man is from this tribe. I'm going to vote based on what you can do. So if you can't do that and you are going to use religion, you are going to use tribalism, you are going to use partisanship to be the main thing to be campaign about, you are going to campaign through tribal lines, campaign through partisan line, then you are not going to get me. Because at the end of the day, if you come to power, I don't think you will say, oh, this guy is your is my tribesman, so I will make sure I satisfy his needs. No, after you come to power, you are only going to think about you and your family. So it's about time Africans, we look into our body politics rationally. We have to look through our body politics rationally, because if we are going to keep on vote based on tribalism, based on partisanship, based on something that is not going to help, then we are going to be in the same boat for ages. We are going to be in the same boat for years, because these politicians knows what they are doing. Majority of the politicians understand the terrain we find ourselves. So they always use that against us. They always use that to make sure we stay poor and for them to stay rich. It's about time we think fast. We have some regions in Ghana here that regions have voted for their tribesmen or for ages, and they are not getting any development. There is one thing that a lot of people don't know about African politics. If they have their strongholds, that's what they normally call it. If they have their strongholds, which is a place where they get most votes, you should know that if they name this region as a stronghold, you are going to hardly get development from there. They will rather go, when they come to power, they will rather go and develop where they normally don't get votes, because they want their next election, they gain a lot of votes there. But because you people, you are always voting for them, and even if they don't do anything, you are going to vote for them, they are going to keep you underdeveloped, because they know you ask for you vote for us. But these people, they are not voting for us. So why don't we go and put up infrastructures there, build their roads, build some hospitals, build a whole lot of things, and the next election they are going to vote for us. So if they vote for us and we add to you people who are always voting for us, we add it together, we are going to be in power for a very long time. So most of the parties who normally call some provinces, some regions as their strongholds, you will realize if that party comes to power, you are the strongholds hardly get developed, because at the end of the day, they know you are going to vote for them. They know you are going to vote for them. Please, you can share your idea. Do you think tribalism or partisanship is affecting African politics? Do you think tribalism and partisanship is affecting African politics? You can share your thoughts or your opinion in the comment section. The same person said, for you, okay, he said for you buy armrest instead of making factories, okay, processing, making your own products to sell abroad and make money. Yeah, for you buy American instead of making. Okay, I think if I understand him, what he's trying to say, I'm reading one of our viewers who is all giving comment there, and if anyone leave his comments, I'm going to read it. It's about time, Africa, we invest in industrializations. It's about time we make sure we refine our own raw materials. It's about time we make sure we build factories that produce products which we have been importing. Africa has been dependent on importations, and that importations has been our downfall. It increases inflations. It makes the foreign exchange rate gain more value than our local currencies. So if Africa is going to develop, if Africa we are going to be strong as a continent, we have to start building factories that are going to refine our raw materials, that are going to refine our natural resource, our natural minerals, because at the end of the day, we cannot depend on the Western countries for them to come and take our resources with them, for them to refine it, and later they bring it back to sell it to us. We have been exporting our crude oil, we have been exporting our cocoa, we have been exporting our timber, we have been exporting our gold, we have been exporting, and all these things we are exporting, we export it in raw forms. We export it in raw forms. It's about time the leaders which we choose. We know majority of you are puppets, but at the end of the day, you have to leave a legacy. You have to leave a legacy, because we can't be going through this hustle every day. Currently, majority of Africans has been running to Europe, has been running to America, and when they go there, they only attract manual jobs. They only attract a professor or somebody with degrees. PhD will go to abroad, and he can be a taxi driver. He can just be a cleaner. So we have people with brains. We have people who are very intelligent. We have people who are innovators, but because of the systems that are not supporting them here, they end up running away. They end up running away from Africa. Doctors are running away. Lawyers are running away. Engineers are running away. A lot of people are running away from Africa because of the unfavorable systems or unfavorable conditions that they face here. When we are talking, when you travel to America, you can't be an entrepreneur in America. You don't have the capital to become entrepreneur in America. But in Africa, the opportunity in Africa, every African country, there is enough opportunity for you to be able to implement what you have in your mind. Because we are developing. We are not yet developed. Africa is now developing. So the opportunity is huge. I was just saying that we import a whole lot of products. So why don't we sit down and start the product which we are importing? Why don't we get loans and start producing them ourselves? But our leaders go for big loans and they waste it on things that won't benefit the country in future. Things that won't benefit the country in future. It has been a very sad reality in Africa because the kind of opportunities that are in Africa, but we end up running away to Europe, running away to countries that are not worth it, because some countries cannot even compare their resources to Africa, but we end up running to them. And you know, the one funny thing is, majority of these Westerners are also running to Africa to get grabs on our resources. So whilst we are running to them, they are running back to come and grab our resources. It's about time Africa, we do away with some mentality for us to re-emerge and make sure we put up policies that are going to help the new generation or the incoming generation. So I'm asking, do you think tribalism and partisanship is affecting African politics? Yes, me, I think it has really, because I saw some in Kenya. When I was in Kenya in 2007, I saw how tribalism were able to destroy the country in 2007. There was tribal war between a certain tribe called Kikuyu and a certain tribe called Luo and Luya, and it was very scary. All because these certain tribes think they are being restricted to become leaders in Kenya. There was certain tribe who think they are being restricted to become leaders in Kenya. And this brought war in Kenya, and majority lost their life. The same thing happened in Rwanda during the Rwanda genocide in 1994. So tribalism has been our main problems. Tribalism has been our main problems, and it's not funny anymore. Tribalism has destroyed nations. Tribalism are destroying the value of African culture. Now, let me say in Ghana, because of tribalism, we haven't been able to select a language, a local language that can be used as a national language. Because whose language are you going to select? You select Akan language and you are going to be faced with issues. You select Ewe language, you are going to face with issues. You select Gan language, you are going to face issues. So tribalism has been a thorn in our flesh, and that has also led for our leaders not to perform. Our leaders are not performing because they already knows at the end of the day, when there is time, when the election is approaching, just go by the tribal line. If you go by the tribal line, he is guaranteed that he's going to get votes. If you go on tribal lines, he's guaranteed that he's going to get his votes and a few neutrals. If he's able to win few neutrals to his side, then he can easily become the leader of the country. So we keep playing ourselves. We keep playing ourselves. We keep playing ourselves. I saw it in Nigeria. I saw it in Kenya. I'm seeing it in Ghana, where we go tribal lands. People will lie. People will lie that, oh, this leader hasn't done anything, but he knows he has done a lot of things. They just want their tribesmen on the seats. They just want their tribesmen on the seats. So please, I'm asking, do you think tribalism and partisanship is affecting African politics? If you think so, you can leave your comment in the comment section, and the next time I'll come on live, we will address this. We will address your comment. These days, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do more like, I want to be close with my viewers. So if you have any topic you want us to discuss, you can send me email, or you can write it in the comment section. You can send me email through UncutAfricaLive@gmail.com. UncutAfricaLive@gmail.com. If you send me an email, any topic you want us to discuss, when I come on live, we can discuss about it. You can also leave in the comment section for us to discuss, and we are going to discuss about it. You people have been helping me to build this channel, and I do appreciate how you people have been supporting me. There is one person which I really want to say thanks to, Mr. CJ. I really want to say thanks to. He has been supporting me for a very long time, and he has been buying me coffee. And I really appreciate how he has been supporting me. I really want to I wish he can send me his full name in my email so that I can really thank him, because he has been supporting me. Anyone who wants to support me too, you can support me through a whole lot of but you can just, this man is being, he go to buy me coffee and he just donate something small to support my work, and I really appreciate the way he has been supporting me. I do appreciate all of you who are also supporting me build this channel. This channel, we are just starting. I started doing this Pan-Africanism just last year. It's exactly 1 year in February when I started doing Pan-Africanism, and I have never looked back, and the channel keep growing. Because I think majority of you like my content and you have been subscribing. So please, I want you to also share my channel to most of your friends. Because we are going to go deep in African politics. We are going to address issues that has been affecting Africa, and we are also want to project people who are achieving big things. We want to project people who are achieving, who are being innovated in Africa. We want to also support people who are being innovated in Africa, because all our professionals, our people who have the brains, engineers, talented people are running away from Africa. So it's about time we have to appreciate them, for them to stay in the continent, to help us build this continent. Because if they run away, what you should realize is, in case of anything and they deport you back to Africa, you are still going to face the same issue you were facing. So let's build our own continent. Let's make sure we support ourselves. I wish we have railways which we can travel across Africa, for us to be easy for us to visit other African countries, for us to do business with other African countries, because it's very necessary. It's very important. It helps build a great continent, because what we have realized is even traveling from Ghana to, let's say, Angola or Cameroon is worse than traveling from Ghana to Europe. It's difficult for you to travel from Ghana to Togo. It's difficult for you to travel from Ghana to Senegal. It's difficult for you to travel from Ghana to Mali. Why should it be so? We have to start building what we call railways to link Africa, for us to do business together, for us to know that if Africa should have been doing business together, Africa should have started developing, because at the end of the day, we have more than 1.5 billion people, population living in the continent of Africa. So Africa shouldn't have care about trading with any European country or trading with any American country. Imagine Africa coming together, trading among ourselves, Caribbeans joining Africa, some countries also joining Africa. Africa will develop within a few seconds. But we have been slow. Our leaders has been slow. Linking up railways among ourselves will not cost us trillions of dollars. It won't cost us trillions of dollars. But we should have linked ourselves together for us to trade among ourselves. But our leaders has been slow, and things has been slow in the continent because we are not doing enough. We are just being talkatives. We have been talking, and that is not something that is good. It's about time we have to start taking action, and I think action will be the only way for people to see our seriousness. Please, you can join me on Telegram. You can join me on Telegram by going to the description box. You see the Telegram link. Just click on the Telegram link and it will take you to our platform, and join us for us to discuss about the well-being of Africa. And if today is also your first time joining us, then please subscribe to this channel, as we are going to bring you great content coming from all corners of Africa. And please turn on the notification button so that anytime we upload any great content, you will be notified. So I'll leave you here, but I'm still going to leave the question, and I know those who are watching, you are going to leave your comments for us to discuss on my next live. When I come on live, I'll be coming on live every day, especially weekends, Sundays. I'll be here live. So if you want to join me, just join me on Sundays, and anytime I come here, I think you are going to get me, or you are going to get notification that I'm here live and you can watch me. So till we meet again, I'm always your guy, DGraft Amwako. You can also follow me on all social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, which is now X, Facebook. You can join me through my username, which is I am DGraft. My username is I am DGraft. You can join me through that handle and you are going to get me. Thanks for watching. Let's meet on Sunday. I'll be here. Bye.